Let's talk about J.J. McCarthy because you, obviously Michigan man, you knew the inside stuff about him and the inside stories about him long before I got a chance to learn them through College Game Day and get a chance to talk to their coaching staff, and then obviously through Desmond Howard talking about him, and just basically everybody that's ever met him saying the same exact thing about him. And I don't want to do the promo once again, but basically everybody that's known him since high school said, in between the ears, he's one of the ones. He is one of the ones. That is what he is. And I think Darius Butler said, it sounds like the right comparison for JJ is actually Tom Brady, because the in-between the ears thing is what made Tom Brady Tom Brady. Like, we assume JJ McCarthy's work ethic is insane because of everything we've heard about the way that he operates. So he's only going to get better and better. And with Kevin O'Connell, we assume they're only going to get better and better. He's the one? Is that why everybody in Michigan thought that was the case? And that's why Jim Harbaugh was saying, this guy had the greatest quarterback workout in the history of quarterback workouts. He's by far the best quarterback in this. What are your thoughts on the Michigan man and his debut, and obviously a fourth quarter that we'll all remember in his hometown of Chicago?
I don't know that there are a lot of quarterbacks that could struggle the way that JJ did through three quarters, throw a pick six that I think a lot of people thought the game was on ice at that point in time. And then he responds with 3 fourth-quarter touchdowns, including the bootleg around the corner where he dives into the end zone. And honestly, it was very J.J. McCarthy-esque. It just was. That's what that guy does. And Ty and I talked about it this week, but that guy is the epitome of poise, positivity, and productivity. That's who he is. He's always upbeat. He always believes he's going to get it done because throughout his entire quarterback life, he has gotten it done. He is somebody that uplifts others, where some people like to bring down people. JJ's just the opposite. He raises people. You could see the reaction he got when he ran into the end zone and how many people went running around him. It's just kind of who he is. It's in his DNA. It's the intangibles. There are some people that play the game. They just don't win often. There have been enough quarterbacks through history. We don't have to name any names. They just don't. They don't get it done when it matters. This guy, high school, college, and in his first NFL game on the road after a pick six down in the fourth quarter, he does get it done. Watch how many people come over and celebrate with him once he goes into the end zone there.
It was like sprints.
Yeah, and I think I called him a sicko or a psycho too. I forget what it was, but it's like very bro, like very much like they're in this thing together. It was awesome. You're right. 75 is who Connor's pointing out in the background. He's not the only one. Well, we've cut it short there.
There are a lot of people. And now, I think it's great. Sunday Night Football, of course. Sunday night. You know what we get Sunday night? J.J. McCarthy versus Michael Penix. A rematch of the national championship game. First time they've met since then. Kind of cool, right?
It is.
Another primetime hit, too.
Yeah, this is a banger storylines. Things are going to go well, we assume, for both guys.
Yep.
Okay. NFL's swinging a hot bat.
They are. Monday Night Football doubleheader, not to mention.
Always.
Game kicking off at 10 o'clock.
Definitely going to watch that.
Love it.
Yeah.
We're
so pumped for that. That's really cool.
So stupid.
They got it right last year. Why'd they change it, Chef?
We don't know. They might get it right this year,
so
too.
Smart.
Well, they're trying to do 7 p.m. for the West Coast.
Yeah, because remember, though, they had the 7 p.m. and then they started the next game at, like, I don't know, it was 8:30, and it was right when the 7 p.m. game was at halftime. Like, they got this done already. I don't know why they're going back to
Well, you can't watch the fourth quarter and the second quarter at the same time.
I think it was I think Orlovsky was. Nobody listened to my game last year. We need to have them separate.
Is that what happened, Schefter?
I don't know what happened there. It went back to the 10 o'clock game. As a older guy here, a 50-year-old guy, I don't like those late start times. It's hard for me to make it up for the whole thing. Like, it just is. Like, I'm going to try, but
you don't have to.
My chances of succeeding are not very good. As my wife can attest, I'm sure I'll be, drooling by the second quarter.
Yeah, I like that. You're a mouth open drooler sleeper. I like that a lot. I'll get into that every once in a while with some deep sleep. 10 p.m., good for the West Coast people, though. Happy for the West Coast.
Yeah.
Go for the West Coast. We're happy for you. All right, speaking of the West Coast, last question here for you, Schefter. We appreciate that.
Speaking of the West Coast, is there just a constant injury bug in Santa Clara? Because it feels like the Niners have been bitten by it the last 3 years. Right now, George Kittle, he goes on the IR, so that's 4 weeks. And then I saw earlier today, Purdy, maybe 2 to 5 is a potential. Is he an IR candidate as well? What's going on with the Niners and their injury situation right now?
Well, Kyle Shanahan said multiple weeks. And when the head coach is saying on Wednesday that the quarterback is a long shot to play and that it's a multiple week injury, that tells you what you need to know. Like, Kyle Shanahan's being as transparent as he could be about that. And so right now, it'll depend on how Purdy feels as he's coming along, whether he misses 2 games, 3 games, 4. They don't know yet. They'll wait to see how he responds to these injuries. The toe is the bigger issue than the shoulder right now. He hurt it when he got tackled out of bounds by Julian Love on Sunday. They knew it was hurt during the game. They knew it was an issue. And now it looks like it's going to sideline him Sunday and beyond. And so, I mean, it sets up a great storyline here. You prefer to have Brock Purdy out there, but Mac Jones finally playing for the 49ers. Everybody expected to see Mac Jones running a Kyle Shanahan offense. We just didn't think it was going to be in week 2 of the 2025 season. But that's what we got here on Sunday in New Orleans against the Saints. And again, I'm just telling you that when the Niners made that trade to go up to number 3, it was with the intent to draft Mac Jones. And then during the process and the evaluations, they changed their course of thinking and decided to go Trey Lance. And they went away from Mac Jones. And Mac Jones obviously signed with San Francisco this summer, trying to follow like the Sam Darnold plan. Sam Darnold went to San Francisco for a year before he went to Minnesota for a year before he got the big deal in Seattle. And so Mac Jones now gets a chance to show what he can do in the 49ers offense here.
I love Brock Purdy. Okay?
Yes.
I appreciate Brock Purdy. I respect Brock Purdy. I feel like I have banged the drum for Brock Purdy louder than most people because of how much respect I have for his story. To be drafted where he was drafted, become the starter against all odds and just ball out and then immediately have success. And then everybody still thinking, oh, there's a reason they didn't draft him. He could walk on water, and they would say it's because he couldn't swim. And I didn't create that line, but that was really what Brock Purdy was being judged against, and I didn't like that. I thought he was a baller. Now, him finishing the game with his toe that's going to keep him out a couple of weeks is certainly something that we should respect his toughness as well. Because if it is something that's going to keep him out for multiple weeks, that had to be a real deal. He finished the game there. So I think a lot of people just assumed he was going to play because he finished the game. If you can finish the game, what are we talking about? Well, adrenaline's through the roof. You're doing this entire thing. But I say all that to say this. Shanahan liked Mac Jones, right, from the draft process. If Mac Jones balls out, okay, possible. Mac Jones balling out is possible. And again next week. And again the week after that. Kyle Shanahan is a guy who will say, we just gave you how much money? We don't care. We are going with Mac Jones. He is a hot hand, is my quarterback type of guy. And that's insane to even think about at this point, especially because of how much I respect Brock Purdy. But if Mac Jones is the perfect quarterback for a Kyle Shanahan offense, which is possible, especially with the years of experience he's had now and failing. Failing is a good thing because you learn a lot. You get humbled maybe. I don't know how many gritties we're going to see tonight. Maybe we see a few. But it's like maybe he's at a perfect spot for a Kyle Shanahan offense and his brain and his throwing. Maybe that's what, there's a possibility here. This is a huge storyline.
Yeah, and his number one target in New England while he was there was Kendrick Bourne. And the 49ers brought in Kendrick Bourne to be another receiver because Jawan Jennings hurt his shoulder and they weren't sure about him. So Mac Jones is, basically his best target throughout his career thus far, you could say, because, that's the only place he started and played with him, would be Kendrick Bourne. So him, McCaffrey's healthy, and Shanahan wanted him.
Tongs, what's the guy's name?
Yeah, Jake Tonges.
Tonges.
Are we on the right track here? Am I speaking out of pocket saying that, Shefty?
I listen, they're committed to Brock Purdy. The money's committed to Brock Purdy. Yeah. They'd love to have Mac Jones develop. I think that's there are always a bunch of scenarios that could unfold with any scenario. I don't see that happening right now. I think there's a lot of steps that you'd have to get through to get to that point in time. If Brock Purdy were unsigned and hadn't signed the deal this past summer, then I'd say that's interesting, Pat. We might be onto something. But they committed big money to the guy, so he's going to be there for a while.
The 3 overall pick.
Probably trade him.
Traded a bunch for it. They put Mr. Irrelevant up in there. It's a wild move, but if you're going to win, you're going to win. I miss Brock Purdy, but I'm excited to see if this is Mac Jones at his full potential.
Yeah.
Good luck to him. Good luck to all parties. And tonight, we'll follow along as you keep us updated on everything that's happening. We appreciate the hell out of you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate having me. Nice to be with you. We'll see you Monday.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now is a man that said this at halftime of his last game as he was beating a team 33-0 in the first 2 quarters of the game.
Time talking. Maybe I just have a different standard. I don't like them freaking moving the ball at the end. They're dropping back at the end of the half. Like, we're on the sidelines, me and John are saying, they'll take a knee here. They'll run the ball. They don't fear you, they don't respect you enough yet. And if that sounds like coach speak, then you have the wrong brain. They're dropping back against our starting defense. They're cutting our own line at the end of the half. All you young guys, just go back there and chill. I want my opportunity. Some of you guys will get an opportunity right now. I told you I don't care what the score is. I told you I care what the tape looks like. Did I trip when the ball was fumbled? No, I don't care what happens in the game. I want to see what the next play is. You have one half. Defense, you have one half. If they try to drop back and throw it, and that quarterback's not on the ground, I want new guys in there rushing. I want them hit. I want them never to say our name again. You believe the fact with 43 seconds left?
Another minute 30 of that, ladies and gentlemen. The Coach Matt Rhule.
Yeah, Coach.
What is up?
Hey, I want to let you know, when that video was leaked, okay, snuck out of somebody's phone. Shout out Will Compton, the boys. Great job on TV this morning, boys. When we see that, I think to myself, here's a guy trying to set a precedent right now. Here's a guy trying to let the boys know, like, hey, in the past, maybe we're okay winning by a touchdown or winning by 4 or letting people come back on us. Or you said a couple different times through there to the defense, you have an opportunity at a shutout. You don't get a lot of opportunities at a shutout. I love that mentality. Is this new speak from you to the team, or is this a new angle, or is this kind of how you've always been at all your stops?
Yeah, this is kind of, who I am and who we are. I think the great thing is I just have a team now that's ready for it. They're all there for it. Like, that video in the end, there's a couple senior safeties that are shaking their head. And it was really cool at the end of the game. Like the one safety, Marquise Buford, he was like, I've never beat someone 68-0. He's like, this feels great. Yeah. And, it's not supposed to be easy. So you have to have moments like that where you're just reminding everyone what the standard is. And that was directed at the coaches too. Like, I don't want to see us chilling. Like, we're supposed to beat people. If you're at Nebraska, you're supposed to win like that. And so, but yeah, I have a team that likes that kind of stuff. Like I wasn't yelling at them. I was yelling with them, and they were all about it.
I love the competitive spirit. You're going to have that. Having the killer mentality is a real thing, and you have to have it. And I think it is something that is practiced. I think it is something that is trained. And it sounds like you were thinking of the second half against Akron there. 33-0 at halftime, 68-0 after 4. So that's a bigger, you do some quick math, that's a bigger second half than first half there. And no relief syndrome for this Nebraska team. Obviously, you have Houston Christian Huskies on Saturday. Now, I assume there's going to be a lot of similar chatter to the boys going into this one. Nobody has really heard of this team. Now, I certainly did because I love college ball, and we talked about this Huskies team down there for the Houston Christian folks.
One of our favorites.
They're tough.
Dogs are barking down there.
Yeah.
In the name of the...
Yeah, in nomine Patri et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.
That's what they...
That's what they do pregame.
Yeah, that's the entire thing.
They're dogs.
Because they're Husky dogs.
They don't pray for winning because God willing they shall.
Yeah, that's right. And where else would they rather be than right here underneath this Lord? So I understand that they are a problem. You're going to have to keep your boys locked in for real, because that's the type of game that blows an entire season, especially if you think you're going to do something special. Is that the messaging? And how do you not look ahead to the rest of the schedule that is very, very good? You got a pretty solid lineup coming right around the bend here.
Yeah, no doubt. I think the way we've talked about it all along is, the guys want to go to the NFL. So I've said, like, hey, we have 3 preseason games, just like you have in the National Football League. And that's not to diminish them, but it's, hey, we're in the Big Ten. And we have to go coast to coast. We have to play all these good teams. So we have 3 games to establish kind of our identity. Guys, the players on our team, they have 3 games to establish their role. Like, I want to be a starter. I want to be the starting kicker. I want to be the starting. Okay, well, go play well. Like I'm not going to make you the starter if you don't play well against Cincinnati and then against Akron and then against Houston Christian. And so that doesn't mean that the games don't matter or aren't important. It just means, like, we are trying to build our team up into the Big Ten. And so there's a lot of guys this weekend who have a lot riding on this game. Like, your role, how people see you, like, when the Big Ten teams turn on this tape, what are they going to say about you? Like, is there going to be a fish next to your name? Like, oh, that's the guy to go after? Or are they going to circle you and say, hey, watch out for this guy? And Dominic and Sue, great Husker, he said that on Bustin' with the Boys, and I'm going to show that to the guys tomorrow. Like, who are the guys on our team that you have to circle? Like, hey, we got to be ready for this guy. And that's my challenge to our guys. I like that video's out there because our guys answered the call. To your point, we haven't shut someone out here since 2009, and so to finally shut someone out, okay, great. But now the standard's set. Now you have to go out and play that way each and every week.
I like the reminder though, like, hey, you have a chance here to shut somebody. Like, that is a new goal. All of a sudden, we're moving the goalposts. Like, hey, we have a new goal right now that we didn't know we could potentially be staring down. And we all know MAC teams. Tough.
Oh, yeah.
Tough.
They're legit.
No doubt.
If you let them hang around,
Yep.
love ball. They're going to be scrappy in there. And that Ohio University team, I would not schedule them if I was you guys. Yeah.
Hey, I have a couple rules. Not rules, but when I meet with my AD, when I get a new AD, I'm like, just please never mention the word Dakota to me. And then we have Ohio U next year. I'm watching them, almost beat Rutgers. I'm watching them last week. And then my AD, Troy Dan, who's a great friend, he's like, you do know we have them next year. I about fell out of my chair. Like, well, it's scheduled before I got here. Like, who scheduled Ohio? Frank Solich. I mean, those teams know how to win.
At Ohio, West Virginia was. We scheduled Ohio at Ohio. Who did that? Your question, same thing I asked. I'm like, how are we playing in Athens? And they got Navarro back. He's in his 100th year, it seems like, over there. Yeah, they're a scrappy team. So if you don't put them away, though, your team could have been on the other side of an embarrassment there. I appreciate the way you addressed that with your team. I would say 45 seconds to a minute too long. You agree after watching it back?
Yeah, well, I'm always too long. I'm emotional. Like, that's not like, I'm not walking in like, hey, Pat, what should I say here? I was legitimately mad that they drove the ball down and kicked and almost made a field goal. They hit the goalpost. I was like, at some point, that's my point. At some point at Nebraska, we got to be Nebraska. Like, you just got to end the game. Like, the quarterback drops back. You got to go sack him. And I respect Joe Moorhead. I respect Akron. They played hard to the end. It was a good game in terms of, like, there was no fights. There was no but we're supposed to be Nebraska. And so I'm just trying to get our guys to realize, like, when you say the word Nebraska, you got to think the way the guys at the preeminent programs in the country think. So I was legitimately mad, but bro, I'm always too long. That's why my wife cuts me off. She's like, Matt, stop talking. So, I want
to let you know, me and D-Butch were watching it. And we're like, this is really good. And then we found ourselves looking at the clock. We got another 90 seconds here. Okay, I'm excited to hear what he does. But I love, though, that your team responded, brother. That's the only thing. Doesn't matter how I view it. Doesn't matter how Will Compton viewed it. He was ready to go. Yeah. Will Compton was ready to go play. Doesn't matter how anybody else views it. It's how your team views it. And you're obviously getting through to them. Coach, obviously you have a lot of history in Green Bay. You're currently in Green Bay. Obviously, the ties to Micah are very deep as well, with not only your connection at the Dallas Cowboys, but now he's potentially living in the neighborhood that you stay in currently. What are your thoughts on where the Green Bay Packers are right now? What are your thoughts on their debut against the Detroit Lions? And is there a buzz up there? I know you haven't been able to be around the city since you left, but is there a buzz in Green Bay like, hey, maybe this is a year the Packers can go on a run?
Oh, definitely. No, there's definitely a big buzz. I mean, everywhere I know I go, that's probably the first or second question is, how's Micah doing? And, how's he going to be here in Green Bay? So being at the game, definitely felt the buzz. I mean, just to hear him, when they announced and really I got a kick out of watching him, on the sidelines because he was, chomping at the bit. He was like a caged lion, getting ready to go in there. I think they played him around 30 plays but just, from the first time he got in, that first third down, the pressure, because, I mean, Micah has an effect. I mean, the defensive backs are definitely going to benefit from it in the defensive pass, and pass defense. And I think, definitely the other guys up front. But I was very impressed with the Packers. I thought they played at a really high level from the start of the game all the way through. And I was very impressed with their defensive front.
Are the Lions dead? Coach, are the Lions absolutely dead out there? That's Foxy, who's a Detroit Lions fan, in the back going, in there. But whenever all this starts happening with all the turnover and change, and obviously you hope that you're able to just pick up right where you left off, is there growing pains? Like, what are your thoughts on the Detroit Lions after watching their game with the Packers?
Well, I'll say this, and we talked a little bit about this last week before the Cowboys and Eagles game. I mean, division games are the most important. They're the best games of the regular season. I've always loved the format of playing the division games at the end of the year. I thought when the league went to that 10 or 12 years ago, that was a great move. But division games in week one are a bitch. And I think it was, 9 of the 16 games in week one were division games. So that's a tough deal. And I think for especially opposing teams, going into that stadium week one, so by no means are the Lions. I mean, it's their own one. And I think that's just a reality of the situation. And coming out of training camp, you got September football and things like that. But the speed of the game is something you're always very conscious of as a coach. Play style, getting your play style established. The time clocks in both the run protection and the pass game are all things that the details of that. But no, by no means Detroit will be fine.
Okay, I think Foxy likes to hear that. Yeah, absolutely.
Love that, Coach. And how hard is it to have a rookie lineman, a second-year guy that hasn't played that much on the line in the week one, and they didn't get any time in the preseason? How hard is that for a week one offense?
And should they play in the preseason? I think Foxy would like to know.
Yes, definitely want to know.
Well, I think the biggest thing is I'd say offensive linemen as a whole have the biggest challenge, coming out of training camp just from the pure training regiments. If you look at the way the off-season programs are established now, and definitely the amount of padded work you can have in training camp, but that's a big challenge. We had 2 rookie offensive linemen start last year, and the best thing that can happen to them is they practice every day, keep playing, get connected with the other guys, and that's no different than in Detroit or any of the other teams that are playing offensive linemen for the first time in year one. They got to be honest, they got to stay healthy. That's the most important thing. You have to go through it. It is week one. He'll be better off, for it as time goes on. But that's just part of the challenge in today's NFL.
I think that's happening tonight to Green Bay, right? There's going to be a couple of rookies out there.
It looks like it.
Second year guy, one of them, but he didn't play much last year. So yeah, I mean, all intents and purposes, pretty much.
2 young offensive linemen on a short week, against Detroit Lions defense and team that has been kind of counted out all week. I wonder how it'll go for the Green Bay Packers offense. Did we know that you were going to be getting introduced back there? That was about this. We should have been sending congratulations that you're getting on it. Turn that up.
Well, I'm sorry. I failed to bring it up in the
listen to that place.
Absolutely.
Hey, that had to be
That'll
sweet.
get old, that's for sure.
Yeah, tell us about it. What was that? You're just getting back?
It was a celebration. This is the alumni weekend for the Packers, and I was invited to go as part of the Super Bowl 45 celebration. And obviously, a lot of guys weren't able to attend for the timing of it, but it was great. We had Saturday night. We had a dinner, a lot of laughs. I haven't laughed that hard and that long into the evening in quite some time. So that was a great time. And then just to hang out with the players from all the different generations and get to see guys we obviously haven't seen each other in quite some time. So it was really, I had a ton of fun. And then to be honest with you, I didn't know what to really expect with the halftime. I actually thought we were just going to walk out there and as a group and say hello, but that was obviously very, very special.
Okay, so man, that had to feel so good getting out there. Well, that was a loud pop, Coach. That's a loud pop. The tip of the cap is the right play, too, by the way. I think that's good because it's more demonstrative. Everybody could see it. I think that's a good play by you. Yeah. Natural in the pocket right there. I think you did well.
Well, when the hair stands up on the back of your neck, you got to definitely acknowledge the crowd. I was blown away by it. It was definitely special.
Well earned, well deserved for a Yinzer out there in Green Bay. Go ahead, AJ.
Coach, after week one, I feel like a lot of these teams, a lot of fan bases, freak out one way or the other. Like if a team lost, like, oh, we suck, we're done. And then there's some teams that get a big home victory and, some of their loudest fans are saying, hey, we're the best. This is the best team that's ever existed in Indianapolis right now. And they're going to make a run and go undefeated and win the Super Bowl. How do you kind of temper it either way, I guess, whether you win or lose week one? Like, how do you not overreact?
No, I think that's the part of our job as coaches and players, just keep it about football. And that's where I think I know every team I've been a part of, that's why you grind the way you do, and that's why you schedule the way you schedule during the week and so forth. But yeah, that's obviously very normal. We understand it. You love the fans and their energy and so forth, but you got to keep things in perspective, especially now. I think it's a 17-game season. There's so much football that needs to be played, and then the fact that the Packers have 2 linemen out tonight is a great example why you're not going to overreact to a big game, a big NFC football game, and I know we'll talk about that here in a minute. But it's a long year, and you have to keep that in play here. And it's all about stacking success, and success sometimes early in the season doesn't always come with the final score.
Yeah, but with the way Indianapolis played, you could see how those people would be excited. You could see Danny Dimes.
Yeah.
He's putting the dimes at Danny
Quentin
Dimes.
Nelson.
Quentin Nelson leading, screaming, talking, motivating. Did you see that, AJ? Quentin Nelson's the vocal leader of this Indianapolis Colts team. Danny Dimes throwing a ball over the yard. We got a Sasquatch in the first round out of Ohio State. This guy's unbelievable.
He's a rookie and he's a savant already.
And the defense, don't even get me started. You know about Gabagool Anarumo. He's got a full charcuterie board. Wow.
Pies on in front of Danny Dimes now.
Yeah, Bortolini is snapping the ball out here. I mean, it's unbelievable. We got the squad. Now, Shane Steichen's job is to let all of them know that we haven't won yet, right? That is kind of what the coach's job and the messaging is. Or do you hope your culture is already established and everybody understands that after week one?
Well, culture never stays the same. So that's all part of the ride. It's all part of the development and the maintenance of it. So it's obviously great to have that energy. I recall you and I talking about Daniel Jones, during the draft. I'm excited for him. Did a lot of work on him back in 2019, and I'm just happy to see him have that success because I think he definitely could be a hell of a quarterback in our league.
He can run, brother. He can run. Nobody's talking about it.
And he can take a shot.
Helmet to helmet, first quarter, who cares? Gets right up. Wow, that was a pretty big little shot there. Am I going to flex? No flex. Don't need one.
Needs it.
Don't need one. Ty has a question for you, Coach.
Coach, you mentioned Micah Parsons was kind of chomping at the bit on Sunday to get out there. If you're the head coach of the Packers, if you're Matt LaFleur, how do you handle, how many snaps he's going to get tonight? You mentioned, 45%. I think he played 29 of the 65 defensive plays. How difficult is that when you have a game like this, on prime time and everything? And also, he's going to affect the game, but you also understand, hey, we have a lot more we want to accomplish here, and maybe I don't need to be putting him out there on every single third down to get after Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for Matt is to just stick to his plan. I mean, he's going to obviously have a play count plan going into the game, and I think obviously make sure you have plenty of time for the fourth quarter, to adjust that, make sure that plan accommodates that because, trust your people too. I mean, sports science will obviously tell you you got to listen to it. It's week 2, coming off of a short week. Obviously, didn't have much time in training camp. So you just got to be smart. And hey, if you tell Micah 20, he's going to want 30. If you tell him 30, he's going to want 40. So I just think the most important thing is stick to the plan. And I think Micah knows that. I'm
excited to see Micah get out there and get after it. Third down's got to be out there.
It has to be.
I mean, third downs, he has to be out there, especially with Jaden now.
Yes.
Definitely. Definitely. I think that you go to the first third down in the game. I mean, when he came onto the field, the crowd erupted and he had a defensive pressure, affected the time clock. So, definitely. I mean, situationally, I think you'll definitely see him there.
Defensively, what do you do against Jaden? Are you trying to get the middle of the pocket? Or are you trying to keep him in pocket? We're trying to keep him in there. He's got to.
You got to keep him in. You got to keep him in there. Number one, you got to set the edges. Speed to power with the anchor. But he is really good at A and B gaps. His A and B gap escape is for a young guy as good as I've seen. I mean, Aaron, to me, was the best that I've seen, and he did it forever from 2008 all the way through. But that A and B gap release you saw last week on the Thursday night with Jalen Hurts. I mean, these guys that can step up and slide through the A and B gaps and make big plays. That's going to be the huge challenge for Green Bay's defensive line. I thought those guys played exceptional. I thought that the defensive line for the Packers, all the way across, played well, but they got to keep him in the pocket, especially the rushing yards that he can produce. And I think he's being very smart and selective when he does run too. And all the way around, this is an offense that's going to move the ball. Ball distribution is excellent, but his ability to run is second level. On top of this guy can make all the throws too now. So he is a young special quarterback.